Hi, welcome back to the Daily Increment. I am Daniel Susser, Agile Coach, and today I'm in rainy Arnside, so I don't have a fridge or a cupboard to be writing on, but I'll try and describe what I'm talking about with just my words. And today we're going to talk about the mum test. So last time we looked at user personas in order to help you understand whether or not you have problem-solution fit, i.e. who has a problem, and then you can work out if you have a solution for them. So once you've worked out the who, you need to be able to ask them the right questions, because it's very possible if you have an idea to take it to lots of people, even people that fall into your user group, and ask them questions about whether they like your product or not, and whether it's the right thing for them. And it's possible to get lots of bad data. And the most distracting and time-sapping thing to have at the early stage of developing a startup idea is bad data, because it'll set you off on the wrong direction. So how do you make sure that you have the right questions in order to give you good data from your customers so that you know if you have problem solution fit with your idea? And the answer to that is in a book called The Mum Test by a guy called Rob Fitzpatrick. And it goes like this. There's a well-known saying in some circles that your mum is a very bad person to ask for advice about your startup idea, because you say, do you like my idea? And your mum will answer a question based on, I want to support you. And either she'll tell you it's a great idea because she wants to be encouraging, or she'll tell you it's a terrible idea because she doesn't want you to quit your job on a bad whim. Neither of those are good customer feedback. And the reality is that everyone is a bit like your mum in that scenario, in that unless someone is the customer and they're talking about themselves as the customer, you don't want feedback on your idea from them because they don't know. No one knew in advance that the iPad was going to be an amazing success, or the iPod or whatever. Who could have predicted it? And people are not good at predicting whether things are going to be successful or not. The only thing that, that a customer can tell you about themselves is what's happening to them right now, what they've done in the past, how they feel about things in the past. So the mum test is a set of questions that you could even ask your mum and get useful customer feedback on. And it goes like this. Let's say, to use my example that I've used previously, I'm coming up with a climbing coaching website. So my customers are climbers, amateur climbers, like myself, who are looking for a climbing coach and are struggling to find the right one in their area within their niche. Let's say I want to focus on climbing harder grades, and all I can find is climbing coaches who teach you how to abseil down mountains, whereas that's not what I'm looking for right now. So I, as the startup founder, might go and find a climber and say to them, do you like my climbing website? And they would say yes or no. That does not pass the mum test. A question that would pass the mum test is me asking that person, tell me about looking for a climbing coach. Tell me about what you've done in the past. And then they would tell me, and I'd say, tell me more about that. And they might tell me about the thing they did, and I could ask them a question like, why did you do that? This seems like comically simple, but if you think about your own experience of asking questions from your customers, you might have found yourself spending more time trying to sell your idea than actually learning from them. So asking your customer, tell me about the time where you engaged in the problem that I'm interested in. What did you do? And listening, and tell me more about that is really good. Why did you do that? Have you ever tried X, Y, Z? That can work as well, because they'll give you a factual answer. No, I've never tried that before. Why haven't you tried those things? Sort of useful, because they can tell you, oh, I didn't look online for a climbing coach because I don't trust the internet when it comes to climbing coaches. That would be really useful for me. What you don't want to do is start saying to people, do you like my idea? Or don't you think this? Or wouldn't you think it would be amazing to have one of these? Because you're making a category error if you do that. What you want to be asking people is about their own problems and what they've done to solve those problems in the past in order to validate for yourself that the problem is really a problem. So for me, with my climbing coach example, the best thing I could hear from a climber is if I say to them, what have you done to find a climbing coach in the past? And they say, I spent hours on Google, it was really annoying. For me, that's perfect data, because that says they spent time doing this thing and they found it annoying. So if I say to them, what did you do to overcome the problem? They're like, I just spent loads of hours on it being frustrated. Now I know that there's a real problem. That doesn't mean that my solution, my website, is the right solution, but it at least identifies that my customer has the problem that I think they do. If I said to my customer, what did you do to find a climbing coach in the past? And they say, it was super simple. I just went on my local Facebook group and it was great. I got to meet loads of great people. I say, why did you do that? And they say, well, it's because climbing is a social sport. And actually, I really want to get to know people and I trust their opinions. I'm not just going to get some climbing coach from the internet. Don't be ridiculous. That's also really useful for me because it validates for me that the problem that I think they have is not really a problem for them. And in a way, more useful than finding out that my customer has my problem, I think they do, is the finding out that they don't, because then I know that I don't have to waste my time on the website. And then by exploring the customer, the person that you're interviewing's own life and their own feelings about what's going on, then you can really have validated that you're at least addressing the right problem. And then what you'll need to do is build your solution and see if that is the right solution to their problem. And we'll do that next time. Read the Mum Test. It's a very short book. It's I found it very influential in how I think about customer interviews and user research. So you can find that on the internet. I'll link to one in the description. Like, subscribe, etc. if you want more of this stuff. See you next time.